Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today for the final time, Steve Theisen, Wisconsin DOT, as we talk about Verona Road Construction update, the final one. Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Jeremy. How are you?
I was trying to prepare for this for the last month. I'm sure you knew that, as every time we talked, I reminded you that it's coming to an end. And you're like, it's just another update, Jeremy. So on that sum up, I'm doing okay.
It's,
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's certainly a bittersweet moment as we enter these final days of the entire Verona Road project, thinking that we've been out there in the Madison and Fitchburg communities for the last 7 years, and now we're down to the final days of the entire project. It's remarkable at where we've come and the community involvement and certainly the infrastructure that's out there as well. It's amazing.
It really is, and we're gonna dive into that in part two of our conversation today. So if you are watching this later on, there's a part two to this that Steve is we're gonna quiz him all the way through the project. He just doesn't know that yet. So we'll have him explain from start to finish every cubic inch of concrete, and we're going to break it down coming up. But we're going to finish out today talking about the last update. So there's been a lot of work still going on. Steve, I want to pick up, did we open up the interchange officially? Is that open and moving?
We converted the permanent traffic signals at the Verona Road and Highway PD interchange on Tuesday night. So Wednesday morning, we were able to have the permanent traffic signals take out all of the signal poles and wire from the temporary configuration. And now crews are sort of wrapping that up and pouring concrete for the remaining median islands and sidewalk. Pretty much where those temporary wood poles were is where we have to finish up the project. So there's still barrels and everything restricted at the interchange here this week, but hopefully next week we'll wrap up all of that and start pulling the barrels over the next week or two and really have that finished product and having the single point interchange very similar to the Beltline and Verona Road interchange.
Yeah, that interchange it works very nice. The one that goes under the Beltline. So very excited for this one to open up. What other pieces do they have left as they wrap up for the year?
A lot of it, again, as I mentioned, is the concrete hand pours for the medians, the sidewalk, and then really just the sign placements and wrapping up with any other restoration or pavement markings that are needed. So really, I mean, we are truly in these final days of the work. Thankfully, November this year has been really kind to us and having 60-degree temperatures during the day and not too frigid temperatures at night. And so we're able to keep this work going along compared to last year. If everyone recalls, in Halloween 2019, we had 4 inches of snow and the frigid cold temperatures in early November of 2019. So a year later, we're able to have much better conditions to wrap up this entire project and really have a completed project here on schedule.
Yeah, that the weather has been phenomenal here the last going, and maybe it's a gift to you guys. They gave you some hardships along the way, but it's cleared out to make it just a little bit easier to wrap things up.
Yeah, and certainly we're appreciative of that. And again, we're appreciative of the public's patience and really their perseverance throughout these several years. We know there were some tough times with the configurations last year at the PD and Verona Road intersection as we built those two new bridges, as well as some other headaches and frustrations. But really, the perseverance and dedication from everyone involved, the local business community, residents, and everyone else, it's truly paid off. And again, we're in those final days of the entire project, and we hope that people can really enjoy these roadways for years to come.
Yeah, and that is something that's been important with this is the roadways. They're going to last for a long time out. And how far did they plan out here for this roadway to stay established and meet all the challenges of the future?
So for our traffic forecast, we usually look at 20 years after the project completion. So we're in 2020 this year, 20 years out from now, 2040 is what we need to meet those standards for traffic volumes, making sure that traffic can still flow efficiently and safely through that area. So in that sense, for traffic volumes, 20 years, the bridges that we built out there, Williamsburg Way, the PD bridges, those are going to last at least 75 years. Certainly some different spot improvements between now and the next 75 years, just as the bridge ages with Wisconsin winters and everything else like you see in the state. But really, this infrastructure is going to last for decades, and something that I think a lot of people can get behind and appreciate, that travel times are much more reliable on Verona Road, much more efficient. If you're traveling from Mount Horeb or Verona to get into Madison or vice versa, not having to stop at those signals at Williamsburg Way or County PD. Certainly have this traffic signal at Raymond Road, but that's been efficiently improved, and really looking at the completed project and all that great work that we've done over the last several years.
What, from your standpoint in the outreach in this project, how was the outreach? How was the public meeting, getting the information out, Steve? Because that's something can be so complicated in construction, is finding out and staying up to date on what's happening. But from your standpoint, when you have something this long, I mean, how do you work that communication out to keep it relevant and keep folks up to date?
Well, ever since the study began in the early 2000s, the Verona Road project, or then study, has always been a focal point for this area of Dane County. The neighborhoods, the communities, and the different associations and groups have been actively involved in the study, carrying that into the design project and making sure that any brochures or newsletters or any other flyers that we send out went to those neighborhood groups, because they were great partners in sharing that. An example in the Madison area is working with the Dunn's Marsh neighborhood and Ally Drive, and telling them, hey, we want to get the community involved. They made those mosaics at the Jug Handle intersection there with the roundabout underneath Verona Road, and having that kind of coordination. Certainly once we moved south into the Fitchburg area, the local officials recognized the importance of communication and involvement with this project, and they formed the Verona Road Business Coalition that is really, really strong, 400 members strong this year, and really having that collaboration and helping us spread the word. Certainly we can do everything on our end, but when the community gets involved, it really pays off, and it's something that we recognize on our end as a true success, and helping the commuters, the business community, and everyone else stay informed.
Yeah, absolutely, and my son is very happy about that comment for outreach. Steve, we're going to take a quick break, more to come, but just to finish up on this segment, as far as you've already talked about what they got to finish up next year or this year, will there be any work that has to happen next year? Like, will they come back and have to do some reseeding, or should we be surprised if we see any work happening anywhere within the corridor?
No, you shouldn't be surprised if you see any work next year. It'll primarily be the restoration and landscape work, similar to many other projects across the state, that we finish construction within the normal March to November construction years, and then the following spring, crews come back out and make any plantings or, again, landscaping efforts that are needed. And those efforts will not have any traffic impacts on Highway PD or Verona Road. They'll just be there. You'll notice them. Certainly there may be some slowdowns with people looking at them, but otherwise no official impacts for lane closures or ramp closures or anything like that.
Fantastic. All right, Steve said he's going to stay for one more segment, and we're going to go through looking at this project from start to finish coming up. So we'll take a quick break. More to come. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.